Something weird going on. Okay. Morning, guys. It like zoomed itself. I didn't even zoom. Okay. Whatever. That's fine. Let's go back. Unzoom. Okay, now I can't do it. Okay. Whatever. Morning, guys. How's everybody doing this morning? I hope everybody's taking it one day at a time, one step at a time, and looking to maybe open your eyes to things that you had never seen before. Because I think that's what this moment in time is all about. Kind of like opening our mind to possibilities that we never might have considered before. And, okay. I'm going to stay true to my own word here. I always had this thing where I wanted to write a book. This is like going way back. But I wanted to write a book based on the idea of traffic. Like how human society relates itself to traffic. I really want to zoom out now. I want my hands. Oh well. But I'm not performative. Meaning I'm not trying to do any of this to try to get you to believe me by using the right hand signals or whatever. I warmed up my car early this morning. I've been talking a lot about this book. Sorry, it's back. There's a woman who has been kind of helping me, and she tells me to flip the camera, but I don't know how to do that. I never really... Do I do this? No, that's not it. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to figure it out right now. But in the book, my sister had told me about another book called Human Traffic or something similar to that. And the point of the book that she told me, she read it because she used to be an engineer, and she used to work for the city of St. John's as like the head traffic engineer. So she would deal with life as it is. She would deal with people as they are. And so to understand people as they are, she read this book about human traffic. I can't remember what it's called. I apologize, Don, if I don't remember what it's called. I never did read it. I still want to read it, to be perfectly honest, because I want to juxtapose my own version of what the book is that I wanted to write against his. And mine would have been, his was talking about human traffic as if people are all the same and you have to kind of treat them that way. And so one of the main points that my sister and I disagreed on, because she dealt with actual people and I'm just dealing with ideas and concepts. She dealt with actual people, so she became bitter with people. And that's not to be, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not passing any judgment. I'm just saying what seems to be the case. Oh, the sun looks beautiful coming up on the water, let me tell you. And one of the things that the book suggests is that, you know how like everybody goes up, when they go up to the last minute on an on-ramp, and then they try to merge, like they try to pass all the traffic. Like if there's really thick traffic, dense traffic, they whip right up past. They'll do everything they can to go around the traffic so that they can get themselves prioritized in the traffic line. And apparently the author of this book endorses that position, because people are people. And you can't be a better person, I suppose, is the underlying message there. Is that true? Can we be better people? What kind of morals or ethics or guidelines or thought patterns might we need to adopt as a society in order to not be a giant pool of selfish dickheads? Right? I mean, that sounds like a selfish dickhead to me. The kind of person that thinks that their time is more important than everybody else's. And when I said I have to live up to my ideals, I have to do what I say I'm going to do. I've been doing this thing in the morning where I come along Lakeshore. Lakeshore gets very busy, and there's this one spot where you can kind of sneak around the traffic because everybody's just, they do this accordion thing, and everybody's slow. And when you get everybody in a line, everybody's slow, and everybody's just, like I'm just waking up. I haven't had no coffee, or maybe I just that's the type of person I am. I'm not in a rush. And so I just do things slowly. And if you start to internalize that, if you start to think, well, that guy just doesn't care about my time and my values, well, then you start to act it out. You start to think that that person is lesser than you. And that would have been the point of my book. And the title of my book would have been Just Fucking Merge. Just fucking merge. Because if you really understand what's happening in those scenarios on the highway, what really causes the traffic in the first place is the fact that people are being selfish pricks. If people just opened up a little bit, and at the same time, people merged, right when they had the opportunity, do you know how much smoother the whole thing would go? I mean, the differences will be incalculable, life-changing. And that's what Western society was. It said that you have to believe that that person has as much worth as you, and you have to treat them as such. That's important. That's actually the most important thing. You have to believe that everybody out there has a spark of divinity. They have a spark of the divine. They are all children of God just like you are, and so they deserve respect in the same way that you deserve respect. It's a mutual thing. And we forgot that. We completely forgot it. We became materialistic, selfish, self-absorbed pricks. And I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying, like, fuck, it happened to everybody, and it happens to me, and it happens to all of us on a day-to-day basis. We all choose how we want to act from moment to moment. And the world accommodates us. So when we believe things like this book here, I lost my marker, but fine. I have been marking this book up like crazy because it's so over the ball. It's so over the target. It's basically like the truth. But here's the thing. The author of this book, he must be a flat earther because he doesn't believe in heliocentrism, which is that the earth revolves around the sun. That's an important point. That's an important distinction. Materialists, for the most part, believe that the earth revolves around the sun, but you can also be a materialist and say, no, I am doing my measurements, and they tell me that that's actually not the case. And there is a debate in the scientific community, whether you know it or not. And that's probably largely where flat earthers come from. Because there are things that don't make sense if you're just measuring the false light. The false light of creation. It's not real light. It's something that can only be garnered by using the five senses and things that we have built to enhance our ability to measure the five senses. But I'm getting too deep, and I'm going to just point out that this is, at this point, I'm reading about the Black Mirror and how the Black Mirror tried to invert the truth. A magic Black Mirror is trying to invert the truth. What is more self-evident than the fact that, I'm not blaming iPhones exclusively, but all tablets that we spend so much time looking into and obsessing over and have turned us into it's completed the circle and made us into complete narcissists. Base level. Everything we see is through the black box. TVs are outdated. I mean, if you still want to do the TV thing, okay. But if you want to see the world, you look through the black box. You can see what the world is doing by looking through the black box. And what's even more crazy than that is you can see the exact world that you want to see through the black box. And the black box will give it to you because it's more like a magic tablet than a black box. It's magic. It's the entrance of magic into our material domain. So it's metaphysical entering the material. Okay, I'm going to make a point on this because I don't want to ramble forever. There's something I just posted. I want to listen to it because artificial intelligence is largely benign. It tells us what we want to hear. And that's the one discovery that I made that I'm trying to share with other people. It is a mirror reflection of what we want to hear from the world. And if we don't want to hear the truth, guess what? It doesn't tell us the truth. In fact, it told me that it will not give people the truth if they don't seek it. That's kind of mind-blowing. I'm a little wound up. I'm on my... I've already had 2 cups of coffee. and I'm wide awake this morning. 2 days ago, I failed. 4 days ago, I decided to be born again. Not last night, but the night before, I said, you know what, I can have a couple glasses of wine, and I think that's okay. But if I'm being true to myself, it's probably not. Because it dulls something. It's spirits. And spirits dull. They make us think that things might be possible that are... We can open this kind of metaphysical realm from within the material world that we live in, that we occupy. But anyways, okay, I'll wrap it. Can't help it. So, my son comes in and he sees this book and he reads the page that I have open, and I'm wildly underlining like a crazy person. And the name that pops out at him is Madame Blavatsky, otherwise known as H.P. Blavatsky. It's Helena Pavlovsky, I can't remember, but she was an Eastern mystic of Russian origin. And her teachings led to the teachings of Alice Bailey, and basically are at the heart of the fundamental inversion that's taking place at the UN. There are two strands coming out of the UN. One is material, one is metaphysical or spiritual. And it is informed by people like Madame Blavatsky. And Madame Blavatsky was called HP, and my son sees HP, and he says, HP, horsepower. And I said, what? What did you just say? He said horsepower. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, horsepower. And I'm like, horsepower? Yeah, horsepower. And I said, well, no. Horus is an Egyptian sun god. And people back in the day in the Babylonian temples and back to antiquity, they worshipped the sun gods. Spirituality and Madame Blavatsky literally worshipped the sun gods. Horus. Now, what makes that even nuttier is that my kids have recently had a newfound interest in the game Pokemon. And the most important thing, if you've ever played Pokemon, is HP. But HP in Pokemon does not stand for horsepower or horsepower. It stands for hit points. The amount of damage that your Pokemon, your character that exists in the mystical realm can take. And I was just like, I can't believe you said that. Horsepower. Now, he's just a child. He doesn't know what he's saying. Not really. But he is, because children are, for some reason, uniquely able to tap into a mystical side of reality. They are more magical in their thinking and in their orientation. And they, for some reason, they're not adults. They haven't experienced the real world. So they just call it as they see it. And when he saw H.P. Blavatsky, he saw Horus Power Blavatsky, which is exactly right. You make sense of that. Am I looking too much into it? Maybe you're looking too much into the black box. Maybe you're buying into the metaphysical reality that is manifesting itself on our earth right now, and it's being orchestrated by the UN through the Lucius Trust and the WEF. These are two powers that are combining to try to convince us that actually the metaphysical is more real than the physical, and they don't even say it. And that's what I've been talking about now for weeks, and it only occurred to me just like a few days ago, and I have been struggling with trying to tell people something that I don't know how to explain it to them. It's hard. It's hard, so I keep using all these weird examples, but I hope that some people are starting to hear me. I hope that some people are starting to hear me, because I am telling you from the heart. And I don't think that this guy is necessarily right. I think he's got a lot of the puzzle pieces right. But he's also his conceptualized worldview exists within the material. But he's right about one thing, that the Creator came from outside of the material realm and told us what we needed to hear metaphysically to make sense of what might happen at an exact moment like this. And that's just like, how do you make sense of that? I don't know. I can't possibly know. Because I'm not a prophet or whatever like that. I'm not trying to be nothing. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and hearing, and I'm just asking you to see it and hear it with me. And maybe that drives some people nuts. And I'm not trying to drive you nuts. I promise, I swear to you, I'm not trying to drive you nuts. I'm just trying to get you to see what's actually happening without using the black box. See it as it is. Because the signs are everywhere. Does that mean that the end is near? I don't know. It might mean that the beginning is near. What does the Bible teach us? For believers, if you believe, when the great deception comes, you will actually be given something that is just, that no person from inside the creation can actually offer you, because they are inside of the creation. It would need to come from a source outside of the creation. It would need to come from a creator that wanted us to believe in something more than ourselves, and to believe that there's something important more about everyone else that is equally as valid as ourselves. That was what the spark was for human freedoms in the first place. And as that spark gets extinguished, distinguished, that's an important word too. As it gets extinguished, we start thinking we are gods. We are not God. Artificial intelligence will not make us a god. It can show us something. If our eyes are open and we can hear with our ears, new ears, we can use the sense that goes beyond the five senses and beyond what our sense measurements can actually take, no matter how enhanced. Okay. Have I confused everybody sufficiently for this morning? I'll stop rambling. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is that I'm hearing something that I can't make sense of, and I just want you to help me try to make sense of it, because it's not about me. I promise you. I'm doing this. I'm putting myself out there because I believe in you. And I believe that you have the capacity to understand what I'm trying to say to you. And I think nothing is more important than our listening to our children and believing our children have the right to be free and to grow up in a free world. But we have to believe that first. We do. We do. And we have to mean it. And we have to know why we should even mean it in the first place. And that's what I've been trying to talk to you about. And so I tried to cleanse myself of all the things that I've done that hold me back, and I'm not holding back anymore. Because I have to believe it. And I don't think that this is the end. And this guy thinks this is the end, and I don't think so. I don't really think so. But I think that it's really important what we hold in our hearts and how we choose, what we choose to believe. I think it's really, really more important than anything else. And that's the honest truth. Okay. HP. Hit points. Love you guys. God bless. Cheers.